Hi guys, my name is Sonali and welcome back to the second episode of Rewire. We're currently discussing about how to reprogram your brain, and we've taken a lot of information, a lot of tips and techniques from the book Rewire, written by a famous and a renowned psychotherapist, Richard O'Connor. Now remember, whenever we talk about habits, you have to remember that habits are governed by your brain, which essentially has two parts. One part is autonomous, right? It is what governs your habits. It is the part which is automated and does not need our direct control for taking every single small, little or big decisions or acting in a situation. While the second part, is a more thoughtful and a conscious part, which allows us to process a situation, allows us to take a decision, and hence it gives us an opportunity to act in a situation, be it right or wrong. But the burden of deciding in that situation is completely on us. And most of your habits, are governed where we regret, most of the habits or most of the situations where you regret making a mistake is actually governed by your automatic brain. So remember when you're eating those chips while being on a healthy diet, or while having decided that you will quit smoking and you end up having a smoke, it's because your autonomous brain is acting up. Your brain is not taking a decision wisely because you're automatically used to having it. Now if you want to break bad habits, if you want to really change your habit patterns, then you'll have to train your brain to stop slipping. All you have to do is understand how the automatic brain works and take control of some of these habits. I know it's easier said than done, but let's understand and let's see how we can change some of these habits by understanding our brain more closely. So the first problem that comes in our way of changing our bad habit is the self-serving perceptions. Now self-serving perceptions or biases is nothing but a way of our own brain telling us this is what we like and this is what we don't like, this is how we are and this is how we don't want to be. Now these are some of the biases that we've developed within our brain. But to change bad habits, you'll have to monitor yourself more closely to understand what is it that's coming in a way of you being a better self, right? Remember one thing, that for any kind of change within your personality, you will have to look inside yourself. You will have to agree to the fact that you are in a certain way. You will have to admit to your faults. Make sure that you look into the mirror to understand what kind of person you are. Are you really making those mistakes, or are you making those mistakes and blaming somebody else? Now once you're able to come to this conclusion, once you're able to acknowledge your mistakes, once you're able to tell yourself that you've been wrong at some places, you will be able to understand what has gone wrong, and then ultimately you will be able to highlight some of the problem areas which need attention, where you can correct yourself. Remember guys, the world will only understand you from what you do. It will not look into your mind and think that, oh, you've done it by mistake. Now when your autonomous brain is functional and you end up doing something which is by mistake, you can say sorry for it, you can apologize, but you can never really correct it unless you make a change in your behavior. Remember, change requires honesty. Change requires you to admit that you've been wrong at some places. Change requires an acknowledgement. It requires you to be honest with yourself. If you lie to yourself, you will never be able to bring about that change. Now the next question is, why is this change so hard? Why do we struggle so much to change our life or to change some of the behavioral patterns? It's because we have these self-serving biases. We have a perception of ourselves, that we are in a certain way. Let's look at how we can change ourselves in the next video.